Hello everyone and welcome to episode 158 of Report This Post, the podcast about bad posts and bad people. My name is Geiger and that is Christian.
Please keep in mind that the nearest exit may be behind you.
And we're your hosts with the posts. Every week, Christian, myself, or a listener select a different topic and then find horrible posts for your listening pleasure. This week's topic, as chosen by a listener named Steven, is air travel.
Let's fly the friendly skies.
And try to avoid the bad food that I've keep hearing about.
From 25 years ago.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a little bit. Don't worry. Air travel, that's fun, huh?
I actually enjoy the fanfare of going on an air flight. Yes. I like going to the airport. I like the drive there, the hanging out at the airport, being on the plane. Yeah. Yeah,
it's rare enough treat where I can have that feeling as well, especially if I'm going somewhere actually fun, which since I've mostly traveled for beer-related things for work, it usually is fun.
Sure. The trip there's fun, the trip back, it depends, right?
Sometimes both are bad in their own, depending on how we get to the airport in various ways. Before we get to more stuff about that, you lost a body part this past weekend. And if you folks want to find out which one it was, you got to head over to patreon.com/reportthispost. This week's past bonus episode, he went into detail on how Christian removed one of his own pieces of his body. And who knows where it is now? You'll have to listen to find out. That's probably the best tease we're going to have for a bonus episode. I'm not sure.
Until I do something else stupid. So
until you lose another body part. Yeah, probably right. In a similar fashion based on what happened.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
Back to the topic at hand. I just flew this past weekend for the first time, I believe, since 2019.
Wow, yeah.
Would be my horrible guess. Certainly, I believe it was before COVID. I feel like I'm missing some time, but maybe not. I don't know. Memory is awful. But, yeah, it was a heck of an experience. I flew up to North Carolina Friday, back home Sunday. I think it was 6 or 7 delays between the two flights. Small airline at a small airport. In the evening, I think that stuff happens quite often. So
somebody just doesn't show up for work and
well, yeah, because there's like 3 flights all day.
You're right,
and if one of them is late a little bit earlier on, it just affects everything else. So, yeah. In the Asheville airport, there's a bar with a full alcohol. So Sunday night, that flight back was quick and easy for me. Kind of just passed out real quick, and then
falling asleep on your way to the seat.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was great. Flying again to our nation's capital here in a couple weeks, so going to use an actual real airline and airport for that one, so should be better. But hey, who knows, right?
Yeah, you never can tell. You never can tell with this stuff.
There's all sorts of bad experiences people have with flying the friendly skies. Some of them even post about it online, if my memory serves me correctly.
Can you believe that? That would be so crazy if somebody went and collected these posts and then read them aloud.
Wow. And then people paid money to listen to that. It would be even crazier.
Hey, speaking of that, why don't we get started on this week's very special
that's right,
episode.
The podcast.
A woman tweeted about the experience she had while traveling on a Mexican airline. Super upsetting experience with Aero Mexico. Missed my flight when I fell asleep at the front row of the gate and no one was decent enough to wake me. Forced to book a new flight with no refund. You'd think staff would take initiative and have a bit more care towards customers.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided to tweet that out, and so many people asked her exactly how this was the fault of the airline that she didn't respond. She eventually deleted the tweet and then her entire account because she was being hounded over it so much. So.
Good. Yeah. It's. I can imagine doing that, the sleeping part, but getting upset at the airline is very funny.
Why didn't the gate agent, who has to put up with 4,000 assholes a day, wake me up after I fell asleep at the gate?
But it is also funny that this lady was in the front row of the gate, clearly asleep, waiting for her flight, and everyone looked at her just like, whatever. None of my business.
Well, you'd hate to wake her up if it wasn't her flight.
She might be grouchy, so...
You really don't want that on the flight. Yeah.
Just those like totally nonchalant employees just like staring at her slumped over and be like, well, it's not my problem. I don't know how to wake a lady.
She reaches under the podium and pulls out a full-size sombrero and puts it on before walking out of work.
She's just having a little siesta. Pretty
That's right. It's part of their culture. Maybe yep.
Yeah. God, I so many people, like even people like boarding the plane, just stared at her. I was like, all right, well, I guess she's just there.
She okay?
Like the last person to board was like looking back at her. I was like, should someone wake up? Nah, forget it.
The door just shuts. Well, that's that. Never will think of that woman ever again. Yep.
This post here that I have was actually sent over by Steven, who selected the topic. It's from flyertalk.com.
Okay.
Where apparently Steven is a big fan of. User FlyDeltaMD88 started his thread titled, "Welcome to the 2020s, Prohibition is Back Airline Edition." Never thought I'd be alive to see a time where airlines got rid of one of their best in-flight sale items, alcohol. Here in the U.S., many air carriers have pushed back the reintroduction of alcohol sales, claiming it's based on, quote, more in-flight incidents, while brushing under the table claims it's actually based on cost-cutting and the, quote, increase in incidents are almost entirely because of masks. Okay. If it's a cost-cutting reason, I have the same opinion I had when COVID broke out. Own up to it. Don't try to tell us it's for our crew and the crew member's safety when it has nothing to do with that. I really hope the airlines enjoy passengers bringing on their own alcohol, because they created this. User YVR Cockroach said, delays to remove unruly drunk passengers or diversions due to the same probably cost more than profits from alcohol sales. I looked at the OP's posting history, Mr. Fly Delta MD88. Pretty much everything he's done recently is just bringing up this whole alcohol ban in a dozen different threads, whether it's on topic or not.
Listen.
When you have a passion.
That's right. The guy, he needs to have a little nip when he's flying, right? Or driving, or getting up in the morning, and who can blame him, right?
Or while brushing his teeth, or any number of options.
Opening a flight-size Jack Daniels right onto the toothbrush. And then using it to rinse your mouth out.
At the gym, the big squirt bottle. Guy's got a way of things. And the airlines is supposed to be a great place for him to enjoy that activity.
Yeah, they do say though, it's a big thing that if you bring your own alcohol on the plane, they don't seem to like that.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I'm well aware. That sounded bad, but I meant because of all the beer stuff I go to for work, breweries just give you beer. And
what am I supposed to do? You're just pounding it in the terminal.
I
can't throw it away. So
this past weekend that happened, and since I didn't check a bag, and I didn't want to check a bag, I just left all the beer in the hotel fridge. So, and it was probably not very good beer anyway, so it's fine.
Hey, nobody's lost, right?
Yeah, well, some hotel maid is going to have a heck of a night.
Some 4-foot tall Peruvian woman is going to take it home to her family, and they're just going to have The biggest rager. So.
All the maids were white women.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a real
flipped on the
paradise.
script. Yeah.
Real North Carolina stuff. They do it right up there.
White indentured servitude. Got it.
Oh, they are all slaves, no doubt. I want that to be clear.
Speaking of drinking on flights, user ArvDude posted denied boarding on a flight over on our Crippling Alcoholics.
Mm-hmm. Which needs a theme song at some point, I think.
Yeah, sure does.
It's a great subreddit.
Gate agent wouldn't let me get on a plane because he said I was too drunk. Was I drunk? Of course. Too drunk? Subjective. His evidence was that I pissed myself in line for the bathroom. It was a long line, and I'd been drinking for several days. Still, I think this is unfair. I never really get drunk on planes, I just pass out. The agent apologized after I sobered up instantly on being denied boarding. Booked me a repeat flight, but required traveling across town to another airline. Has this ever happened to anyone else? And also, what's sadder? Pissing yourself while waiting in line for a bathroom in an airport or getting kicked off of a plane? Wow. I myself am War replied, I think being soaked in piss is a good reason for being denied.
Yeah, I would say so. Buried the lead on that one. It is really hard to imagine.
Of course. Look what we're posting. Also, I was completely soaked in urine.
Man, I've boarded some flights with some drunk folks and to no one giving a shit, so I can't imagine what this guy was up to. Just outside of the piss, no doubt. Even the piss, the flight attendant's whatever. But that with everything else, they're like, okay.
This guy is gonna be a problem. This guy
has zero idea how unbelievably loud he is. He's just sharing the worst possible story at a crazy volume.
Yeah, just loud. So loud.
Several inappropriate comments. Several women. While soaked in piss, yeah. Khaki
pants buttoned way too tight because he's lost a little weight. They're really cinched up, and just the whole front of them just sopping wet.
Flirting loudly with a woman that is holding a baby that he doesn't even know is there because he's just so out of it.
Eyes in two different directions, drunk. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yep.
Cool. Well, so I flew Allegiant Airlines.
Okay.
This past week.
Explain some of your comments. Yep. Okay.
For those who don't know, Allegiant Airlines is a budget airline. A gentleman over on flyertalk.com started this thread, Allegiant first timer, what to expect? The price is too good to pass up for a nonstop from Albuquerque to Austin, $44. I travel light and could probably get by with just a personal item for this trip, but I'm going to pay for the carry-on. Altogether, $59, and for that price, I expect room for my carry-on and a seatbelt. But at that price, I'm still having trouble trusting this as a real airline. Is there anything I need to be worried about? And user Hockey St. Louis linked to an article titled, A majority of Allegiant's own pilots won't allow family or friends to fly their own airline. These are the guys that are flying on the airline, and they're like, no way. Absolutely.
I'll pitch the extra $100 for you to get on Delta.
While I'm flying a death trap.
That doesn't make you feel good, does it?
No.
Now, did you find this post before or after you got on the plane?
Oh, it was after, but I knew about this. What do I care? I've flown on them many times.
If it's time to go, it's time to go. Yeah, Allegiant down here is, because we're kind of a vacation hub, you can get a lot of places using Allegiant.
I've been suckered into their route map they have on their website, just looking, you know what? You can go. I think, at one point I flew from here to New Jersey for, I'm not even joking, I think it was $16.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's probably it was a Trenton Airport, I think,
Yep.
which looked like a library, like
Yep.
a small library.
Flown into Trenton as well on an Allegiant flight. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being said, I've never had a bad experience on Allegiant.
Yeah.
I've
It's
also
one of those
never
when
had
it's
a
good,
experience.
well,
So-
when it's good, you're like, Jesus Christ, this is the deal of the century. Hey, speaking of the deal of the century, head over to patreon.com/report this post to get the full episode of the air travel episode, plus all the other episodes you get the full damn old episode of, and every bonus episode you get every week. Plus additional stuff. You get to join in our live show and all that whatnot stuff that we do. Basically, just go to patreon.com/report this post. Sign up today. If you don't, you're a pedophile. Because I've flown on American Airlines where I wanted to kill everybody, and I'm like, well, I paid 6 times the amount of money, and it still sucks. I mean, air travel just generally sucks unless you got like some first class thing going on.
Yeah, pretty much. There's going to be something really unfortunate that happens one way or another. To you, someone else, something's going to go wrong. That's just...
Yep. Some sort of terrorist attack or something. Most likely going to happen, yeah, when you fly.
That's what the people got on the board on the planes on 9/11. Boy, I hope 9/11 doesn't happen today.
What a stinker. There was several people that was their first flight ever. And man, they're like looking at the towers looming, they're like, I fucking knew it. This is why I didn't do this shit.
I told your ass. I told you. Really good.
Someone who's like deathly afraid of flying. It was like their first time ever after being like talked into it after a while. Like, look, we're just going to fly from Boston to New York. Or it was Boston to LA. Very quick little layover in New York.
They're very brief. Very brief. It's like a blip.
Yeah.
In and out. Real quick.
In and then kind of pieces out all over the streets of New York City.
Oh, boy, that's great. Really good.
Cool.
Well, speaking of traveling experiences, a woman posted this to her Facebook. This makes me furious. Do you know what happened to me at the Kansas City airport? A lesbian TSA agent let every guy ahead of me through, stopped me, who only had the one bag that had already been cleared on the x-ray machine, and only patted down my chest. I knew why, but how can someone like me win by filing a complaint against a lesbian in this political climate? It makes me angry every time I think about it. I wish I had gotten her badge number and name because it threw me so off kilter I couldn't think clearly. And for those of you who want to be donkeys and question how I know she was a lesbian, she not only was dyke in her style and mannerisms, she winked at me several times as I was coming up the line, and she asked me how I felt as she patted me down. I have known several lesbians. I know how to tell 90% of the time. If you're on my friends list and can't trust my judgment or take me at my word, I won't hesitate to delete you. It's my right to surround myself with like-minded, kind, supportive people. Life is too short to put up with those who just want to stir up shadooty and undermine my personhood. I will continue to express myself in the way I want to and limit my list to good-hearted people.
Oof, man. Real good, cautionary tale there.
When you see the 4'8", 300-pound woman with the buzz cut winking at you as you're coming through the security line, you're going to get molested, ladies. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
That's the kind of shadooty you deal with on these airlines. I'm picturing a very Midwestern woman here with this nonsense.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, Kansas City Airport. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, this is a corn-fed gal getting patted down by the one lesbian that lives in Kansas City. So.
And I want to guess she has a friends list of people who agree with her.
Oh,
so it's not like... it's probably going to be a lot of like, I'm so sorry, dear. You tell him, hun. Things like that.
I will never fly from there again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True story. saw a lesbo at the I don't know, what's a good Midwestern grocery chain?
Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah. Saw a lesbo at the Piggly Wiggly. We locked eyes for a second, and I almost called the police. Then like a heart emoji react from the OP on that. Like, so sorry, sweetie. Yeah. Midwestern women, huh?
That would, I mean, she could clock a dyke from a mile away, according to this lady. So good on her.
With a 90% hit rate, which is pretty good. Curious how those numbers were accumulated. That's all right. I trust her.
Just going through every woman she sees is a lesbian.
Yeah, and then just like sort of afterwards being like, I was probably wrong about that one, so I'm not gonna say I'm perfect.
My son's wife, not 100% sure on, but I have my doubts. Yeah.
A gentleman shared this opinion also on Facebook. In the same sort of vein, I'm all for gender equality, but dudes should not be flight attendants.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how effeminate they are. I'd still prefer unthinking robots that might not actually save me to Jerry giggling his way through the buckle demonstration. An opinion that I largely agree with because I have personally dealt with far too many male flight attendants who really think they're very funny when they're doing the whole...
Oh, sure, they're doing the little bit.
They are so... But I've never really read them as gay as just like
theater
dullards.
kid. I think it's like, but that's kind of a fine line too, right? It's someone who's very theatrical.
Yeah.
Are they somebody that was once in Brigadoon in high school and that's been their whole personality for the last 20 years, or are they just a flaming homo?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Which one's worse? Who's to say?
I mean, kind of neck and neck.
These guys love being the only guy flight attendant and like making the gals, making Wanda and the other ones just laugh. It's like, yeah, I'm surrounded by hot chicks all day. Some people say it's a gay thing. Nah, you kidding me? I work with nothing but babes.
Just he's at the leather bar,
yeah,
talking to all the other guys.
His ass is getting prolapsed. It's like, yeah, I work with some hot chicks, no doubt about it.
George Michael blaring in the background. Yeah, yeah. Odd choice of name for Jerry. For when I think of a homosexual guy, that's like the last name I put.
But you know, as he said, when he put Jerry next to giggling, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That is a pretty gay name. Jerry shouldn't be giggling, and if they are, then that's a pretty gay gay.
Men should not giggle. Two adult men should not read posts to one another and giggle for an hour and a half at a time. That is a feminine trait. So.
Oh, I do like how this guy's like, it doesn't matter how effeminate they are, as if there's some sort of like scale for
some gauge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, that guy's pretty effeminate, so I'll let him pass. Like, you know what? No, I don't care how effeminate he is. I don't want him to be a flight attendant.
You gotta do the whole Priscilla, Queen of the Desert thing to make this guy like, okay, all right, at least he's trying. He's almost there. He's good. All right.
I can tell he's tucking right now, so that's fun. He's got feather boa on.
Yes.
Or 17-inch heels.
He's getting caught on the overhead compartments. But damn, he's graceful. He it's like a runway. He's just spinning and twirling. Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Speaking of the fairer sex,
sure.
This next post comes from R2X Chromosomes, which advertises itself as a subreddit for both serious and silly content intended from a women's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
An airport employee went through my luggage and stole intimate things, is the name of this post. After unpacking this morning, I've discovered several things missing. My hairbrush, my deodorant, several pairs of socks, I'm unsure exactly how many, and 6 pairs of underwear. Conspicuously, all the thongs I packed. Left behind were the less sexy underwear. These are all intimate things that have close contact with my body. I've gone over it in my head 100 times. No way these things, and only these things, could have fallen out even if my suitcase did naturally come unzipped. Someone went through my belongings and stole them. I feel helpless. I feel violated. Most frustratingly, it seems like those feelings have just become a normal part of my life as a woman, and I'm sick of it. I just want to be able to live my life not having to constantly worry about when and how I'll be violated next. Because the reality is I'm learning to accept is that there will always be a next time. And a now deleted user replied, I was sympathetic until I read that last paragraph.
The one where she put her heart on her sleeve?
That's right. Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Cool. Yeah, I feel like that would be the perfect paragraph for that subreddit. But I guess maybe that was a person who was there for silly content.
Yeah, it was too serious, too heavy on the serious side for that person, for sure.
Boy, that is one thing I never understood. The guys who like steal like underwear or socks even. Good Lord. My God, I have no decency.
TSA agent flipping the light on in his double wide trailer, and it's just underwear and socks pinned to every conceivable surface inside of it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Two things also. It's bizarre that she doesn't know how many pair of socks.
Well, you're packing.
Sure.
You reach in the drawer, you just throw a bunch in.
But even weirder to tell people she wasn't sure how many. Like, just say several pairs of socks. Is someone going to be like, "Oh yeah, how many?" Let's tell you're not. If you don't tell me exact number, I will downvote you. Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking dox you if you don't tell me how many pairs of socks you had.
Tell me how many fucking pairs of socks, and if they stink, tell me right now. Tell me how stinky they were.
How many times did you wear them? Yeah.
Cool. That is a fun subreddit. 2X chromosomes. It's
yeah. There's some good stuff on there. It's a fun time for sure.
Just broads being broads online. So brutal.
What we all love to see.
Hey, speaking of that, a woman posted this to the Southwest Airlines Facebook page. I booked a flight that had an 8-hour delay due to mechanical issues, and no apology or compensation was offered. On the flight, the first flight attendant who greeted me called me sweetie.
Oh.
I simply asked another flight attendant that the original flight attendant not serve me the drinks I ordered because I did not like being called a pet name by a stranger. After that, I never received my drinks, and the crew literally would not speak to me after I made that request. How absurd. As a woman, I have a right to request fair and respectful treatment. Women's voices will not be silenced any longer, and neither will mine. #MeToo. Southwest responded with this: we hate to see you disappointed. Please send your confirmation number in a private message, and we will see if we can lend a hand. To which the OP responded, what a bizarre response. I am much more than, quote, disappointed. I am outraged and horrified, not disappointed. And this got 112 laugh reactions, which is great.
Rightfully so. That rocks. Using the Me Too hashtag, is like
tough.
That is so fucking.
Is Me Too about being called sweetie on airlines by someone that just calls everyone sweetie? Probably.
I was basically assaulted today. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff left out of this.
Sure.
Between her asking to not have the drink served by that original flight attendant, and then the flight attendant's not serving her at all.
Because this person is brave online, but in person she was like mumbling like, can you not serve me drinks? And they're like, oh, okay, weird thing to say. And they just didn't. They just thought she was saying, leave me alone because I'm insane. And they're like, okay, I guess we will.
Pulling her stringy hair down over her face as she chews on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, all right.
You can just don't even bother. That whole, that whole row.
That row is, they're fucked.
Oh, boy. Man. All right. Well, on the other side of the coin, user Just Another Dude went to Reddit to post this. I'm going to school in Europe, and I was going through Chicago O'Hare International TSA. I was on break visiting family, and I'll probably be flying a lot between the States and Europe for breaks. This was the first time I've ever had to be pat down because of my groin area. People were going through a whole body scanner, and it was fine. I've done this before, but then I went through, this guy showed me with the screen on the body and the groin area was highlighted in orange. I didn't, however, have to say, there's nothing in my groin area, just my dick. They just patted me down and wiped my hands with something to test if there was anything on them and let me go. It was a strange experience. Undies Bulges commented, if we didn't have terrorists, this never would be needed. But at least you got felled up. Just think how he felt when he played with your huge cock. LOL. I should note this is from the subreddit Big Dick Problems.
Yeah, I can say this happens to me quite often, but I don't think that's the reason. In fact, it's impossible that that's the reason. So I don't know what's going on down there. But
supposedly there's a button that they have to press if it's a man or a woman, and if the scan doesn't match, then there's a problem. So
yeah, I've had my dick touched probably 7 or 8 times. Seriously,
they are just clocking you as easy prey. They're just as soon as they scan your ID as you're coming into the check line. They're like, this guy. Here he comes again, a guy that's really easy to feel his penis. We're going to do that to him today.
Maybe it's my refusal to take my wallet chain off. It has something to do with it. It's like,
okay, look, it takes me so long to pull on and then buckle all these straps on my pants.
Yeah, and just big Jinko jeans. I was like, did you take your shoes off? I was like, you know what? I don't even know. I can't see my feet with these giant jeans. I have no idea what's going on.
I can't see past my knees. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 7 or 8 times. And that's just from sober times I've flown. Who the hell knows how many times it's happened when I flew not even knowing I was flying? You know? Hammered out of my mind.
Asking them, like, okay, where's the part where you touched me?
All right, here's my dick. Here you go, sweetie.
Oh, Lord.
That's awesome.
That never happened to me. So.
No? Yeah, it happens quite often. I don't know. There's something going on, but I don't know. Whatever.
I'm telling you, you're on the list. You're on the list.
It's pretty humiliating, but what are you gonna do?
What isn't any these days, right? What part of life isn't humiliating at the age we're at now? It's just all.
Well, it's so humiliating. There's no humiliation at all.